Welcome back to the Real Estate Rat Pack Radio Show with Chris, Joe, and Rob. The crew is taking your calls, so dial in at 1-800-808-5548.
I'm a marketing guy.
And welcome back to the Real Estate Rat Pack Show, man. It is such a good time to be here that, the whole conversation is going on, and we are live on air. You know that, right?
We're discussing business cards over here.
We're trying to educate Joe over here.
The marketing guy and the very schooled with multiple, what's it called? Accreditations behind her name here.
Designations, yeah.
Right.
Alphabetical letters in strange orders behind her name. This design expert over here and I were discussing the fineries of business cards. So,
and the great
very
thing
important
is,
stuff.
This is a show very important for you, Joe, because, it's all about designing a new home. It's about building a new home. Extremely important show. So,
Yes.
not only do you get to listen to it, but you get to experience it today.
I would not be surprised if my wife called in on this show.
We are waiting for your phone call.
She texts us during the show with questions already, so
that is
she's
great.
a motivated buyer.
Our next guest up is
Me, not
right
so much.
along what we talked about in reference to designing a home. Our next guest, I don't want to mispronounce your last name, by the way, but you have...
We gave you a hint.
Yes, exactly.
Jeannine Nuzzi.
Jeannine Nuzzi.
That's right.
That rhymes
With
fuzzy.
Gabriel Home Builders. How you doing today?
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being on board.
Absolutely. I'm having fun.
Let us know a little bit about Gabriel Home Builders, by the way. One of the things that we always like to do is introduce, especially we talk about this, some of our home builders, some of our local, regional, custom home builders that we see out there that we don't hear about a lot. So great opportunity to do so.
Thank you. I started the company in 1998.
I'm sorry, cheesy question. What was the inspiration for the name Gabriel Home Designs?
That is my grandfather's name. He was not a builder, but I picked up his name. Just popped into my head when I was trying to. Long story, actually, but
It's a special name to me. I love that name.
I do too. Thank you. It's
Gabriel. Anytime God had a message to deliver, He sent Gabriel.
He did. And when I was thinking about it, my grandfather, it was as if he was in the back seat of my car saying, Gabriel's got to be the name. So that's what I went with.
I love communication and delivering, messages, thus being on a radio show. And so Gabriel's kind of a special character to me in Scripture. But anyway, nothing to do with anything. I was just curious about where you got the name from.
Back to the late 90s.
Meanwhile, back to our show.
The late 90s, 98 I started. No, I actually used to work for builders out in Sugar Land. I was a new home salesperson, and while I worked for them, I bought my first home. We won't say how long ago that was.
5 years ago.
That's right. And decided to renovate it and asked them, can I use some of the subcontractors that you guys use? And they let me do that, and I renovated my first home in the Heights and just started from there. Loved it, loved the creativity of it and the whole idea of building. And so in 98, I formed the company after I sold new homes for 10 years and broke away from that and just started from there. And here we are.
So when did you get your degree in counseling?
First selling new homes, you get really good at it.
Yeah, some of our most interesting conversations are prior to the show and during the breaks. And we talked about how stressful it can be for a couple to go through the home building process. It can be very stressful. And so we were talking about what that looks like. And so might want to kind of address some of that.
What we try to do to help alleviate a little bit of that is try to set the client's expectations along the way, because there's so many unknowns for the clients. I mean, budget, what's it going to look like? I didn't expect it to be like that. This is smaller than I thought. I mean, the list goes on. So what we really try to do when we get started with the client is set the expectations. And we really do like to pair up with the architect early on in the process so that we have the same understanding as the architect does of what the client's vision is. And when we know that going in, then it's easier for us to help them budget along the way and to continue to set their expectations in terms of just continuing to create their vision and making sure it happens.
What is since we're all kind of on this theme, even off air, what is the biggest point of contention? Is there an area that tends to be the most stressful or something? If somebody's out there, a couple's out there saying, I think we really want to design a home. If there was an area that was more contentious than any other, would there be one when it comes to the whole process of building?
I think probably two things. One is staying in budget, and the other is that they understand that it is what they wanted, that it looks like, because they don't have the vision. People think linear, like you mentioned, and so it's, pairing up with the architect and helping them understand what it's going to look like, and that it is in your budget. Because a lot of times what can happen is if the builder is brought in too late in the process and we're asked at the very end of the process to price this home for us, and they had these expectations of it's going to cost $500, and when we get done pricing it out, it's $600 or $700, then at that point they're what can we do to get back down to where we need to be?
Where can we find $100,000 of savings?
Make it smaller.
That's right.
Downscale. We don't really need cabinets. Just lay the granite on the floor.
Give us a shelf space and an air conditioner. That's all we need. But that's typical. I think it does shock people a lot of times because material costs have gone up pretty exponentially in the last year and a half or so because of the demand for new construction materials.
That's right. They have. And labor costs are going up because there is a labor shortage of good people. So all those things are affecting price.
So what do you tell somebody who said, I'm thinking about building new for myself, get exactly what I want, or I might be looking at the resale market? What's that conversation look like?
I think they should go explore all options. I think it's really important because when they build a home, it's a big commitment. It's, 3 months to a year with an architect, another year with us. And so it's really important that they're sure that this is what they want to do. And so
this may be a question for the architect, I don't know, but in the process of building, when you're going back and forth, or like the situation you described, I'm thinking, okay, number one, subject of contention, budget. They meet with the architect. They come up with their dream home. They argue back and forth about all the fineries, and now they've got it. They come to you, and they're like, holy cow, it's $100,000 over budget, right?
Right.
Is it common then that you're working with the architect or back and forth there to, where can we, in essence, find $100,000 to make this house happen? Is that a common scenario that you find?
It probably 50-50.
Wow.
That's why I like to get involved in the beginning so that we can work with the architect and the client. We can make some material suggestions so that we're still maintaining their vision and just work together as a team to get them where they want to be and find that 100,000.
So would it make sense then, I'm trying to think of the flow from, the person out there's listening is genuinely considering, hey, I want to build a custom home. It makes sense then to come to you as the custom builder as the first step, to then involve the architect from there so that you guys can kind of work in tandem together to keep that budget in line with what the couple would have in mind. Or I shouldn't couple, anybody.
It can happen both ways, and oftentimes architects will come to us once they've initially met the client, and they'll bring us into the team and say, we'd like you to, work with this client and maybe do some preliminary budgeting for them before we get to final design to make sure that we're in the price point that they want to be. So oftentimes a good architect or a lot of architects will bring us or a custom builder in early in the process.
What I like to say is it's not going to do anybody any good if I draw them the Taj Mahal and then they don't want to spend the money it takes to build the Taj Mahal.
Right.
So I have to echo what Jeannine says, and bringing in an architect that appreciates having the builder insight on the front end so that expectations stay level is key to this being a successful process. Where I was, and I lost my train of thought, so never mind.
I'm connected.
Well, that's actually a common theme when I'm counseling people.
What, losing your thought?
Losing your train of thought.
Yeah, that's because I'm seasoned. But bringing
He had a
expectations,
seasoned moment.
expectations and reality together,
Right.
That's right.
is a huge piece in any type of real estate. It's because people do get a notion that, I'm going to be able to get this, and they have this great vision. They've been to some completed homes and things like that, and see all this wonderful finish and things like that. And go, yeah, that's what I want. And they find out what it costs, and they go, maybe not.
Put on the brakes.
Well, now one question I've got, in reference to Gabriel Home Builders. Let's say I see a home of yours and I really love it. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I want to build a home with you. Do you have any let's say, standard specs that you can build out, or any type of standard, or is everything done via an architectural firm, such as my buddy over here? How does that sort of work?
Everything that we do is pretty customized. Now, we do have some, based on a client's budget and what they're looking for and what their vision is, we do have some recommendations and suggestions and some sort of standards to help get them there. But for the most part, finishes, design, style, that's customized and generally together with an architect on what it's going to look like at the end of the day.
Gotcha. Because I was looking at your website, GabrielHomebuilders.com. Some incredible homes that you've built. I mean, absolutely gorgeous homes. I encourage everybody, if you're out there and you're looking at getting some fresh ideas, we've had 2 websites so far given out, but Gabriel Home Builders is what we're speaking with right now. Phenomenal website, great portfolio of both new construction and renovations that you've done out there. What are you seeing more of right now? Are you seeing more people going in and renovating their existing properties? Or are you seeing a lot of individuals going out there and saying, I'm doing a lifestyle change, I'm going to build a new home from scratch, as we were talking about earlier, and really building for the future, whether it be a new home or or existing? What are you seeing more of right now?
That is a great question, because we are seeing a lot of both. We really are. I mean, it's hard for me to say what I'm seeing more of. A lot of people are asking us, what should we do? Should we renovate our home? Because there's a lot of value, there's value in our property. So should we tear it down and build, or should we stay here and renovate it? So that's something that we try to help the client decide and figure out, cost-wise, budget-wise, what works better, how much it'll cost to renovate and compared to build.
I can imagine, and a lot of times we're seeing a lot of individuals who have their home, it's paid off, it's free and clear. They want to stay where they're at, but they want a new lifestyle. They want a new home. And so, we're seeing a lot of those changes. And I think it's important, and I'm always a big believer also in renovation just as much as new construction. We are going to be coming up against a break right now. How can we reach you if you don't mind?
You can reach me on my website at GabrielHomebuilders.com, or you can give me a call at 713-861-8613.
That is Gabriel Home Builders. She's going to stick around because, remember, we have our last segment, which we get to ask questions of everybody, and it's our open round. But stay tuned. We're going on a break right now. We'll be right back.
And that's a recipe for making love. It doesn't need sugar, 'cause